Welcome to this episode on the Health and Happiness Show, where it's my mission to change your mindset so that you can live a healthy and happier life. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's go. Hey guys, it's Ollie here, and welcome back to another episode on the Health and Happiness Show. Today, we are joined by an incredibly special guest. He is the host to the UK's #1 health and fitness podcast, the owner of Awesome Supplements, the author of the book, How to Be an Awesome Personal Trainer. And aside from being a pretty awesome guy, he is the owner of the BTN Academy, which is where I was first introduced to this man's work as I underwent his certification program to become a nutritionist back in around 2013. If all of that wasn't awesome enough, on March 31st this year, the most awesome gift was given to this man. That was his newborn daughter, Ivy. So yeah, everything about this man is pretty awesome, and I'm going to try and say that word as many times as I can during this episode. It is therefore a great excitement and pleasure to welcome to the show Ben Coomber. Ben, how are you, my friend?
Mate, I'm good. You've got a very good radio voice. Very dulcet. It's very smooth.
A face radio as well, should I take?
Are we on video?
We're on video, yes. The video won't be published, but
my awesome shirt then. I'm very proud of this shirt.
Hey, guys, if you can't see this video right now, I'm jealous of Ben's shirt. It is absolutely incredible. He's upstaged me, but that's no surprise. Ben, first of all, massive congratulations. This man right here has just disrupted the protein bar industry. Why? Because if anyone's ever tasted a protein bar, certainly going back 5-6 years, your mouth would have a workout, right? It was the workout for your mouth. Protein bars were not cool then. They weren't nice. And actually, yeah, that's pretty much summed it up. But actually, Ben just last week launched the Awesome Protein Bar. I have one right here, and it is safe to say it is absolutely worth the money because not only is it going to help you get your protein intake, but actually it tastes really, really nice. So Ben, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. We are proud. We're excited. And yeah, let's try and disrupt the protein bar market, as you say.
Why the protein bar market is where I'm going to start this off.
Man, do you know what? My life is just a series of events where I'm inspired. I see opportunity. I see a place where innovation can happen. So I started out as a coach after my journey from going obese to slim, and that then led me to be a trainer, and I kind of loved the journey. But then there was always this kind of spirit in me of bigger, different, and I kind of saw the online world back in 2009. So I started my first online business. And then there was no online education, and we went into online education, and then the supplement market frustrated me. So I moved into the supplement market. And then with the protein bar, it's just another like, why isn't there a product that fulfills what people want? Like everyone loves like the grenade bar or the barbell bar, but there wasn't a plant bar, and plant-based nutrition is very popular right now. And we're trying, a lot of people are trying to reduce dairy or avoid dairy or be vegan or be plant-based or whatever. And I was like, surely there's a way to make a bar that's just as good, maybe better, and it be plant-based. So it's just come out of my want and willingness to just do different things, be creative, innovate, and try to bring a better product than currently exists to the market, which is health and fitness.
See, I would say for a lot of people, going into such a competitive market would be overwhelming and even daunting. What has given you the courage to pursue into that? And the reason why I ask is because, many people are concerned about other people's opinions, and there'll be other industry leaders right now in the health and fitness space, in the protein bar space, making comments. How do you overcome that? How does that make you feel? Does it touch you at all emotionally? And what would you say to someone who's maybe holding themselves back from lacking courage?
Interesting question. So for me, courage is built up over time. It's a muscle that you've kind of flexed. It's kind of probably a similar feeling for a lot of people of confidence. So when I was younger, I lost all the weight. So that gave me confidence with my fitness, with my health. It gave me energy. And then I started to do quite well at a young age in my career. And it was kind of just my mindset. I just got stuck in. Like whatever I did when I was younger, I just got stuck in. And when you get stuck in, you usually prove to yourself that things are generally not as hard as people make out. So I was always willing to try. And I think I was fortunate from a young age. I wasn't surrounded by too many people. So I went to boarding school when I was younger. And when I left school, I didn't have many friends because everyone sort of disappears after boarding school. And I was living quite an isolated life because my parents were living abroad, and I lived in a house when I was younger and just basically got a job. And I think that's a very important thing for personal progress, is controlling your environment and ensuring the right voices are in your life. So when I was younger, I didn't really have that many voices in my life. So it allowed me to have my own voice in my head all the time. And that allowed me to build courage, build confidence through a process of reflection. You know, we do something, we stand back and we say, well, was that a success? Yeah, I can improve it. Yeah, I can, polish this area, but let's say that's a success. So as I went through my career and it kind of evolved, I just allowed myself to build on the small amount of confidence that I'd created from my weight loss journey. And that's quite often what we see happen in the health and fitness industry. Like, how many people become personal trainers because of their own fat loss journey, their own experience with a health challenge or, whatever. And that's amazing. So I had this initial confidence and I thought, well, if I can do that, I can probably do most things. So courage, yeah, it's built up over time. You've got to flex it. And when it comes to a big risk, like something like a protein bar, for me, the only real big risk ultimately is the financial risk. Like we've had to buy 60,000 bars. That's a lot of fucking protein bars. But you kind of have to make an educated decision. Like, is there a bar as good as this in the protein bar market right now that's vegan? No. Well, I'm willing to put my balls on the line here and put this out there and spend the money after all of the hard work. So for me, I have built it up over time. And I think one of the things that I've learned over the years is that if you trust yourself, everything will be all right. Like if everything burned down right now, if my house burnt down, if my business burnt down, if my car burnt down, I'd be really pissed off. But after I'd cooled off a couple of days later, I'd go, right, well, I've got this far. I can do it again. I've got skills. I've got ability. I'm going to go get a job. I'm going to get a job in the gym. I'm going to go and, whatever. So I think over years, when you build the confidence and courage, you know that the risks you take are calculated. And if anything does happen, you'll be okay because you've got that far already. And you combine that with the right environment and not having these crappy negative people in your ear, you really can make your own success at anything: body, mind, business, career, health, relationships, anything.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of breaking it down. I think courage, similar to willpower and pretty much everything else, the more you practice it, the more you put experience and time into it, the bigger that and stronger that muscle grows. Let's go back there to, you mentioned how you were overweight, and obviously there'll be perhaps people who are unhappy with the weight they're currently at, listen to the podcast right now. Obviously they know what they need to do. They know they need to go on the diet. They know they need to start exercising. And maybe that lack of courage or that lack of confidence in themselves to join the gym or to, believe in themselves is holding them back from making that change. But as a man who has gone through the process and seen actually just where it's taken him, what would be your advice to that person listening right now, which is their fear of maybe judgment, failure, status, or just anything of the like is holding them back? What would that advice be?
To spend time picking apart that fear and talking to people that have hopefully been there and done it and have got some sage wisdom. So if you take like the gym environment, I was a very obese man when I joined a gym, but I kind of stood there thinking about the gym saying, well, the gym's a place where people go to get fit. Like that's literally its purpose. So yes, there's people in that gym that are really fit. They're really muscular. They can do loads of great things. But to get to that point, you've got to walk through the door. So I kind of stood back and I thought, well, yeah, I could get scared of what those people think of me when I walk through the door, that overweight, sweaty man struggling on the treadmill, struggling to do, a 10 kilo, whatever. I could think about that, but I could focus on the fact that actually they were probably where I'm at right now. And hopefully, if they're a nice person, they will think, congratulations, that man, for joining the gym today. Congratulations for that person to have the courage to walk through the doors and conquer their fear and, just start that first step. If they don't, that person's a dick. And you should take confidence in that, because no one wants to be around or know that person that looks down on people, that belittles people, that is negative towards those types of people just starting out on their journey. So I think it pays to really reflect on what the fear is, where the fears come from. Is it real? Or is it something that you've made up from quite often a negative experience that you've had? Like someone might have joined a gym before, and the first person they met or matched eyes with across the gym was this big muscly guy. And that muscly guy looked at them and thought, what are you doing here? This is a place for fit people. And unfortunately, that memory has maybe stayed with that person, and now it's defining their future decisions. It might be the same for a runner. Someone goes for a run, they're feeling unfit. They run past a building site, and the guys on the building site go, "Hey, off out for a run, chubby." And that might have stayed in someone's head and now given them a complex about going running because they don't want that experience again. But you've got to stand back and go, well, is that person a nice person? Was that really a just thing to do? Should I pay attention to them? Do I value their opinion? And the chances are the answer is probably no.
Out of interest, when you were that overweight, Ben, going into the gym, did you ever get a negative comment?
I'll be honest, I can't remember. Like 15 years ago, the thing is, I got bullied all my way through school. Anyone that's overweight got bullied at school. I mean, I was the fat jolly guy, and there was literally 2 overweight people in my year. So I was like the fat person to pick on. And, I held a certain amount of resentment to most of that all of my life. But there's a point where you got to stand back and you got to go, all right, you say that I would basically be a better person. I would be more accepting to you and your friend and you and your mindset if I went and got fit. I went and got healthy. So I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to prove you wrong. And again, there's a point where you've got to use a certain amount of negativity, in my opinion, as fuel. It's like if people said to me, "Oh, Ben, you can't do that," I'll probably go, I can. And then I'll decide if I want to, like if I want to show you, because someone like Ollie, you might go, "Oh, Ben, I bet you can't do a triathlon." And I'm like, I bet I can, but I'm not actually going to because it would bore the tits off me. But at least I'm in control of making that decision and your judgment on me. So I've literally no idea, but I was able to channel the energy from all of those bullies to make change in myself.
Okay, let's fast forward maybe 15, 20 years then. We are in the present today. You are now a dad. Congratulations. A number of dads who too maybe listen to this podcast would maybe struggle with that juggling, with juggling being a dad, working, you're a business owner, multiple business owner. How are you finding that balance right now? How are you juggling between all of the different balls that you're juggling? How are you doing that right now?
So I've had a lot of conversations on this online because I post quite often what I'm doing, how I'm doing it on my Instagram stories. And I get a lot of messages saying like, how are you getting so much sleep as a new dad? Like, how have you changed your lifestyle and stuff? For me, all of this is underpinned by really effective communication and planning. So a child is no surprise to anyone. You get pregnant, you get the little 2 blue lines or whatever, and you've then got like 7 or 8 months to plan. So that's what me and the wife did. And the whole way through her being pregnant, we were talking about things, we were being honest. I was saying, look, this is where I'm at, this is where you're at, this is where the business is at. And I literally said to myself, the day that child is born, I will be in a position where my business does not need me to work more than 6 to 7 hours a day. Sometimes that might change, might need to travel away, all that kind of stuff. And my wife was like, that would be amazing. Like, I'd really like that. So that was then a challenge for me to shape my business. And I said to her, the only way that can happen is for you and for me to be our best selves. And how does that happen? Well, the first and really important pillar as a parent is good quality sleep. So we made the sacrifice to not sleep in the same room. So I think about 6 to 7 months into the pregnancy, I then moved into the spare room because my wife was really like tossy turny, really hot, getting up in the night. So it was disturbing my sleep. And then as soon as the baby was born, we changed that pattern, and I was in the room for 2 weeks, and I was there to help her, support her, and go through that journey with her, which is, you know, a journey I wanted to experience as well. But once we got into a pattern and we understood it, I then moved back into the spare room. So I go to bed at 8 p.m. at night, and I get up at 3:30 a.m. and then I take the baby off my wife. So my wife has it during the night, and then I take it off her. So we basically have shifts. And then that way, if my wife has a really bad night's sleep because the baby's uploads, she can then sleep from 3:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. while I've got the baby. And I just wake her up halfway through that to give her a feed, because we're completely breastfed, which we're very lucky and fortunate about, because I know that's not the case for a lot of parents. So that enables us to get that baseline of good sleep. So that means we're hardly ever grouchy with each other. We're able to handle the ups and downs of being a parent. And then day to day, literally within this 24-hour cycle, we're constantly saying to each other, how are you feeling? Like, was anything a struggle today? Could we improve anything tomorrow? And I'm very open about my work day. I'm like, I've got this at like 9, 10, 11, and then I'm going to take 4 hours off. Should we go for a long walk? We'll have lunch together. And that's quite often what I do. I work through the early hours, then I have my meetings in the morning, and then I spend about 4 hours with my wife and Ivy. Then I go back to work for like 2 hours, and then I'm off again. And again, it's just this constant, like, it's real open communication. But we made that commitment to each other to constantly say, how do we get the best out of this situation? And yeah, don't get me wrong, I would love to be sleeping with my wife in our bed, but it's not the best for us to get the most out of our well-being and handle this environment that we're in. So hopefully when Ivy starts to get into a bit of a routine, maybe she goes into the nursery, she starts sleeping through the night, I'll go back into our bedroom, and it will be kind of like normal life again. So I get that some people might disagree with me with that, and they might not make those choices that I have. But me and my wife said, we really value our sleep. And you know what? We didn't want to have a young child and just always be frustrated at her or have resentment or be angry, because it's hard not to feel those things when you're really tired. And I value sleep so much. And, you know, from a business perspective, my wife, our intention is that my wife probably won't have to work again. That was always my plan. Like from the age of like 20, I was like, when I get married and have kids, we want to be in a situation where my wife doesn't have to work, and she can just be the head of the family, so to speak. So we made that plan. But again, for me, I had to say to my wife, for that to happen, I need to make sure I have a really good night's sleep, because I can't get up feeling like shit and then try and work a 6-hour workday quickly, productively, efficiently if I'm feeling really tired. So it's like anything in life. You have to balance up what it is that you want, all of the things that you value, and then you enter into a negotiation. Like if you're talking about, you know, something to one of your family members and you're debating it, it's a negotiation. Like, how do you feel? What do you want to change? Like, how can we do it? And I see this a lot with people that reach out to me. They're like, well, how have you done that? Like, you know, I'm thinking about talking to my wife about that. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why didn't you plan for that? Like, you know, that's coming. Like the biggest thing about parenthood, you speak to any parent in the world and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you'll get no sleep when your baby's born. So straight away, me and my wife were like, how do we get loads of sleep when our baby's born? Like, how do we handle that? So, yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah, no, like it just sounds that, I mean, there's a level of organization with that as well. And I think, I mean, again, I'm not a parent, so I can't comment, but like sort of to achieve anything successfully, maybe whether that's raising a child or whether it's achieving your weight loss goals or whether it's building a business, there needs to be that organization in place. Just touching a little bit more on sleep there, let's almost talk pre-IV. Sleep, obviously, as you've communicated there, is something you've always prioritized. the majority of people suffer with poor sleep. What would be maybe 3 sleep hacks that you would say to someone, parent or not, that they could implement? So you've maybe touched on actually prioritizing sleep, as in going to bed at a certain time. I think that's key. Aside from that, maybe what would be 3 keys that I could implement tonight when I go to sleep?
Yeah, first one would be to protect your sleep time from any distractions. So if you need to be asleep by 10 p.m. because you're up at 5 a.m., so that's a 7-hour sleep window, you probably need to get in bed at 9:30 p.m., have your phone off, distractions off, TV off, all of that stuff off, and wind your brain down. Wind your brain down for sleep. So get rid of the distractions. Second thing is building on the winding your brain down. Identify what is most effective to switch your brain off. Some people have a busy brain, they worry about things, they feel anxious, they feel frustrated. How can you quieten that all down? For me, it used to be really bad. I used to have a really busy brain, but over time, I learned how to quieten my brain, feel at ease with my thoughts. And now I'll literally read half a page of a book and I'll be asleep. My brain will just literally switch off in a heartbeat. But that's a skill I had to develop because I really struggled getting to sleep. So for some people, it might be listening to some music, reading a book, talking to a partner, writing a journal, writing a gratitude log, doing a guided meditation on Headspace. There's lots of different things, but you have to kind of work through a couple of techniques to find out what works for you. The third thing is the bedroom environment. The fastest way to get a crappy night's sleep is to be noisy or hot. Like I was in bed for 7 hours last night, but I actually got quite a bad night's sleep because I was an idiot and somehow didn't open my bedroom window. And it was 25 degrees during the day yesterday where I live. So it quickly got really hot, really disrupted my sleep cycle. So they'd be the 3 biggest things for me.
Nice. I'm gonna sort of touch on you. You said there you would read before bed. Let's just talk about reading, because reading, I think, has the power to change your life, whether in any literature, in any area. What would maybe be some of the books that you're like? What book are you reading right now? Do you read a specific type of book or genre of book before bed? Yeah. What book are you reading right now?
I am reading the book you wish your parents had read. And I got given it to me as a present when Ivy was born by, I think, do you know what? I can't remember who gave it to me now, but it was a family member or close friend, and they knew that I like personal development. And anytime there's something coming up in my life, I'm already reading about it. So parenthood, like as soon as my wife knew we were pregnant, I was reading a book about being a dad, like all the ways to support her, how to effectively communicate, like the ups and downs of her hormones. Like I understood everything by month 4. Like I was ready for that shit. So as soon as Ivy was born, I was reading a book about how we, in theory, should be behaving as parents around our kids, because I am extremely conscious of the way that I'm going to grow Ivy, the way that I'm going to influence her with my actions, behaviors, the things that I say. So I got given this book, and it's brilliant. It's a really good book. I'm quite an intuitive, self-developed person now. So there was a large amount of it I sort of nodded with, and I was like, yeah, I'm completely on board with that. But there was a lot of really nice examples in the book of like the way that you say things to your child. Like there's so many occasions where through our upbringing and behavior, we say things like just literally off the cuff. Like it's just the way that we say it. But the way that we say things to kids literally defines how they're going to think about that
It's like a,
situation
a
or that.
conditioning. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really, and I know this almost feels a little bit overwhelming or stressful for some people listening to this, because, you know, it can be a lot of effort to think about the words that are coming out of your mouth. But that's why I think it's so important to learn proactively where possible rather than learn reactively. Learning reactively is stressful because you want to fix things straight away. You want to be able to learn faster. So that's why I was thinking, well, if I learn about this now, hopefully I can be thinking about it going into that situation. So already I'm thinking like, you know, how do I behave around Ivy? Like, am I using my phone? That's something I need to battle with, because how subconsciously we just go for our phone. Like if we're a bit bored or it's quiet, we're like, oh, I'll go and get my phone. But I sat there with my daughter, like, why am I on my phone with my daughter? Like, it's the most beautiful thing in front of me. Like, just, be entertained and enjoy the moment. So yeah, amazing book. But I think, hopefully there's a lesson in there for learning for people. When I went on my journey to become fit and healthy, I was like, right, I'm now going to embark on this journey of losing weight. What book do I need to read? Like, I'm going to read the book to empower me to then go and do that journey. So I'm a very proactive learner.
Is that what inspired you to write your book?
Yeah, and I'm now about to start the journey of writing an awful lot. I want to write a minimum of a book a year for the next 5 years. I've got an awful lot of ideas in my head that I want to get down on paper, and the only reason I've not done it yet is because I've been, quite honestly, busy building a business that can do great things, and that all takes time. Being a leader takes time. Learning this stuff takes time, and it's not necessarily come naturally to me. When I started off in my career and business, I was quite selfish, and I think you've got to be quite selfish to a degree. Like, you've got to think about your own goals and drive forward. But as a leader, you can't be selfish. You've got to be very unselfish as a leader. So yeah, I've forgotten what your question was now.
No, I'm going to expand on that in relation to what's going to become the series of books and what you've achieved as a business in terms of the health and fitness goals way back when. One word other than awesome that comes to mind of you, Ben, is consistency. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because your podcast at present time of this recording has 530. That's, yes, 530 episodes, right? That's pretty unheard of, even more so in the podcasting space. And it's impressive. As someone who is just getting started with their podcast, it's impressive. Two questions. One, selfishly, what would be your advice to me as a baby podcaster? And secondly, how can the listeners create the same level of consistency with their goals in their life?
So I'll start with consistency because it's obviously important. I think first and foremost, we just have to understand that if you want something, you're going to have to consistently work towards it. Like, it's just fucking end of health, fitness, mindset, money, business, career, like whatever. You've got to every day be chipping away at it. Not in a stressful way, like, panicking, like, oh, I need to be doing this every day. But you need to be thinking your way towards it. And, when it comes to something like a podcast, like, a TV show isn't successful by putting an episode out on a Tuesday night, and next week it does it on a Thursday lunchtime, and then next week it does it on a Sunday after. It'd be wholly unsuccessful. So a TV program goes, right, 9:00 every week, the series goes up, it goes live, and you start to program that into your psyche, right? You're like, oh, my favorite program is on a Thursday night at 9 p.m. Like, I'm tuning in. Like, you literally move the world for your favorite TV program. So when I started the podcast, I was like, right, for this to be a success, I'm going to commit to it going live every Thursday without fail. And I'm going to make sure it's recorded in advance, and we're going to be planned and all the rest of it. And I'm going to use everything at my disposal for it to be successful. So I'm going to make sure the sound's good. I'm going to make sure the design's good. I'm going to make sure I shout about it online. I'm going to make sure I collaborate with people to, cross traffic over, like I'm doing your podcast now. That's, essentially how it works. So it's about just accepting that consistency is the way to win. But for you to be consistent, you have to be chasing something that is true to you. We go on a weight loss journey, for example, and we struggle. Like, that weight loss journey true to you in the way that you're doing it? Maybe not. And obviously there's various components to that. There's various layers. Like, a lot of people embark on very unsustainable things. It's like, if I'd started a podcast and go, right, I'm going to do a podcast every day, it's probably quite unsustainable. I can commit to once a week. And then when I was ready and it felt appropriate, I recommitted to twice a week. And I've been doing twice a week podcasts for, I don't know, about 2 or 3 years now. So I do a Monday short show and a Thursday long show. But I didn't over egg it. I started off at something that I could manage consistently. Don't join the gym and go, right, I'm going to the gym 6 days a week. No, join a gym and commit to 3 days a week. Something that's manageable. And then when it works, when you're inspired, when you're pumped up, when you're more driven, then add the 4th session, then maybe add the 5th session.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Completely agree. Consistency is key. I think it's a skill, as we spoke about earlier, with courage and building it in that sense as well. Okay, before I ask my last question, I have to ask this out of curiosity. Where did the name Awesome Supplements, or like the name Awesome, come for your brand? What made you decide on Awesome for your supplement brand?
So I think this is how it happened, but I could be wrong. So this was quite a while ago. This probably would have been 2002, probably like 2015, because the business launched in 2016. I think I got my team together and we're having like our quarterly meeting, because we're a remote workforce. We all meet up once a quarter and we have a chat and plan and we make some food and we chill. And I think I sat down with the team and I was like, guys, I think I'm going to start a supplement company. Like I'm really pissed off. Like this is frustrating me. And we were like, oh, what should we call it? So we did a big ideation session, got the whiteboard out, scribbling loads of stuff on it. And everything coming up sort of sounded a little bit odd, a little bit. And someone goes, well, you say awesome all the time. And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, awesome supplements. And I was like, nah, surely it's a bit too simple. Like, because it's not really a defining word by a lot of people. So it kind of stuck. And now this is the power of environment. I then started to have a conversation with someone that's quite close to me. And I would say at the time I respected their opinion. And they really got in my ear and started to say, you can't call it awesome. It's ridiculous. You can't, American this. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I went away and then I went back to the drawing board again. Oh, what else can we call it? And I was, you do all the standard things and stuff. And I was really trying to force it. And I was giving this person too much airtime. And to be honest, that's when I had to reflect and say, hang on a second, whose business is it? Who's got this far? How much experience does this person have in branding and marketing and sales and all the rest of it? Nada. So how about I trust my gut? And ultimately, something that you're passionate about, something that is true to you, something that you believe in, you'll make work, because people will see that authenticity come through. So when I stand here or I'm on stage or I'm whatever, and I'm like, awesome this, awesome that, you just see it, you just feel it. But whereas if I was like, oh, so-and-so supplements, like it just wouldn't feel genuine. You could see the word coming out of my mouth in an inauthentic way, like it had been sculpted just to be brandy and salesy and stuff. So in my head, I was just like, right, awesome for me is a word that signifies you stepping up and stepping into your life. Like choose to live an awesome life. And for me, that encompasses everything. It's not just diet or fitness. It's everything. It's my relationship. It's me being a dad. It's financially. It's business-wise. It's fun, my social life. It's travel. It's everything. I'm going to do everything with an awesome mindset. And then honestly, when it came to actually building the business, I was like, this actually makes it really easy, because we can just call everything Awesome X. So awesome whey protein, awesome vegan protein, awesome protein bar. And I was like, I like easy. Job done. So
Well,
I think that's how it happened.
Well, there you go. That's my question answered. Awesome. Ben, my last question for you. What is the one thing that we can do that have the biggest impact on our health and happiness? One thing.
Get really comfortable with what it is you want to achieve and why you want to achieve it. And get every voice that's in your head, in and around you, that's even remotely negative, out the way. Spend some time with this as well. And the reason why I say that is when I coach clients and I sit down with them and I start kind of really getting under the skin of things. And let's just say we've got a basic weight loss goal. Oh, I want to lose weight. And when I quiz people and say, well, why do you want to lose the weight? What would it mean to me? Tell me how your future would look if you achieve this goal. No one knows. Like no one has an absolute Scooby-Doo. It's just like, oh, I want to lose weight because I've kind of gained weight over the last couple of years and I'd like to feel better and I'd like to fit into my clothes a little bit. But no one can really tell me, like, from their soul, why it is they want to achieve that. And I have to get that out of them as a coach. I have to paint this picture, because life and getting fit, especially as you age, especially as you've got a busy job, especially as you're a busy parent, it does become more difficult. Time is a limited resource. Sleep is a limited resource for some people. Energy, money, these can become a problem. So when you've got days where you're tired or you're pissed off or, work's really busy, you've got to have that thing inside you that's saying, no, we're doing this. We've committed to this. And I want to do this for all these reasons. So when I first lost all the weight, it was actually literally a phrase that drove me to make so many changes in my life. And it was, if I don't lose weight, I will never be successful in my career. And it's because at the time I'd had loads of failures as a budding actor. So all through my childhood, I was an actor. And at the age of 18, I was like, right, I'm going to go and follow the dream. I'm going to go to drama school. And I got rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. And I was like, right, why is this? Perhaps all these rejections are because of me. Perhaps these drama schools don't want a really overweight, jolly, and this is my personal view, unattractive person clogging up our screens. There's no parts for these people. So I kind of just stood back and I said, well, am I the best version of myself right now? Like, if I go into this acting career, can I stand there and be confident, be healthy, be happy? Actually, no. My weight's holding me back. I'm not really that energized. I've got asthma. I've got eczema. I've got IBS. So how about we solve these things? And the chances are I'll have a better career. So all of a sudden, I literally woke up one day and I just had this mindset of, if I don't make these changes, I'll never be successful. And that is a painful realization for someone who's young and wants to succeed, wants to do great things with their lives. So I had big goals as a youngster, and I just felt that getting in the best shape of my life would allow me to do that. So I just had this word, this phrase, and the next day I got up and I relentlessly followed that goal.
I think that's so beautiful as a story and as a journey. I very much believe that, like, everything happens for a reason in life. And if you go way back when you're getting the rejection, right? Like, everything happens for a reason. Now, look, I don't know. Like, I don't know your life inside out, but like, I look at what you've achieved today and I look up to you as a figure in the industry who's doing amazing work. And maybe that wouldn't be the case if you went down the acting role. So I certainly believe that, like, everything happens for a reason. At the time we asked why, I can relate this back to my own health. Like, at the time, why was this happening to me? But it can lead to so much, such a more beautiful destination. And I think that's the very beauty of it. So, trust in your gut, as you said earlier, and trust in the process is what I would say.
So you said earlier on, a phrase you used was authenticity. And all of my failures, through reflection and me going on a different path, made me go down the road of a more authentic life. So when I was younger, I acted because I quite enjoyed the feeling of making someone feel a certain way. So whether they laughed or they cried or they felt scared or whatever, that's sort of the power of an actor, right? But actually it was kind of fake. I spent a lot of time acting as a kid because I wanted to be liked. Don't get me wrong, I was pretty good at it. I refined the skill as a kid, but ultimately I wanted to be liked. I spent my whole childhood being bullied. So actually acting was a way to get appreciation, to get applause, to be shown appreciation for the hard work that you've put in. So I built an identity around that. And then what happened over the years is I kind of realized that I wasn't living my most authentic self by doing that. So I went down a different journey. And now I'm in a position where I'm not acting, but I'm using a voice through podcasting and video and social media to make people feel a certain way. So I've just spent 10 years just going down this wiggledy piggledy jungledy journey to a place where now I feel very true to myself. I'm able to stand here and hopefully make you feel a certain way. Maybe you feel inspired, or maybe you feel less stressed. Maybe you feel motivated. Maybe you feel grateful. I don't know. But I now have the ability to create that in other people, but through a more authentic way. Acting and the feeling we get through acting is fleeting. Like if you go and watch an amazing film, for a day or two, you're like, oh, that film was amazing. Like, the new Star Wars or whatever. But if you come to one of my talks and I have an hour of your attention, I bet you that feeling lasts more than 24, 48 hours. I bet you're thinking about that all week, all month, all year as you start to navigate your journey. If I've done my work properly, if I've been able to inspire you and make you step up and make you feel differently. And that's what I now love about my job. So you're right. Look at your failures, see it as a lesson, and start to go down the road that you're actually meant to go down.
Yeah, guys, and just for some context, before I hit record on this podcast, I said to Ben, I said, if you didn't call the supplement range awesome supplements, it should be called authentic supplements, because Ben is an authentic character. It's the very reason why I wanted to invite him onto this podcast show, because in a world of disingenuous and a lack of honesty, I want to cut the crap there and actually just bring people to this podcast show who I generally look up to and who generally actually have the right values and morals behind what they're doing. So Ben is doing awesome work. Usually I end this by saying, where can I find out more about you? But everyone knows Ben Coomber, because that is the work that Ben Coomber is doing. So mate, I absolutely applaud you and I admire you, and thank you for your time on the podcast today.